Good evening, everybody. I would just like to talk briefly about a vivid dream I had maybe 20 years ago. So vivid that I've never been able to forget it, and from it, I have used the name that I was called in the dream for many years. And I've talked about it a little bit to other people, and I guess really I wanted to describe it here today because it's a pretty amazing kind of a story, really. Okay, so it's a dream about an ancient time, but in this ancient time, it wasn't. I guess it wasn't like a caveman scenario. It was more of a I don't know, similar type of society to what we have today, from best my recollection. And so, in this particular, whatever you want to call it, it's like in between waking and sleeping. And as I'm lying there in my bed and closing my eyes, and I'm just about to drift off to sleep, colours appear everywhere in my vision, and I start to have these kind of weird. They're like movies, but they're movies like you're in the movie, like playing a game kind of a movie. Anyway, so this particular evening, and I was doing that. What happened was I drifted back to an ancient time. It looked like it was an ancient time, but it was, I guess, a very. There's no real way to describe it other than it was a society similar to what we have today. We spoke a different language, and I was in charge of maintaining like a machine. Okay, and the machine was really, it was similar in design to what you would call like how we have an electric motor, and like because I've worked in that area in my life, I kind of recognized it in my mind without knowing what it was as such. But the difference between this motor and any other motor, it had a spinning part, but it didn't have it. You could see that it was run by plasma, I guess, like lightning. So you could see inside. It was inside a glass jar kind of thing. There was a spinning thing in there that was. From what I remember in the dream, it was to create a energy vortex, and also it was used to what do you call it? Create matter or generate particles that were not known previously. So it was a plasma engine vortex machine thing. Can't even really, but that was the purpose of it. And I remember, that I had a great deal of technical knowledge about this machine, and so I was continuously making adjustments and also maintaining different parts of the machine. And so I was in like a room, and somebody came in and called me a name. Now the language they spoke sounded like ancient Egyptian, and well, I not for many years, I called myself the name Takarakat, and I never really thought about it until one day I go, I wonder if it's actually a word, which because you wouldn't anticipate it being a word, but I mean, like, your mind's a powerful thing, but it turns out that this Takarakat name that I'd been called in this dream where I was the master of the machine, the plasma generator, it turns out that it's like the words that it's constructed of, which happens to be 4 Egyptian words, and they are only when you would only ever encounter those words if you were like a priest and writing a funerary text or translating it into hieroglyphics and scribing it on a wall. So it was pretty interesting. So and I wondered how my dream had constructed this place where I still have many of the memories of the different types of machines and things that were being used in this place. It was like a society similar to our own, but I think possibly even more advanced. And so Takarakat was what they called me when somebody came in and asked for something, and like I wasn't sure exactly because I was still thinking in my language, but I kind of understood what they were saying or what they wanted. So in the whatever it was, vision or dream, I went and got a like a piece of paper that had some sketches and drawings on it, and I gave it to that person, and they walked off with it and seemed happy. But I remembered the name. So anyway, when I looked it up afterwards, it ends up being Takarakat ends up being 4 words that would only be used by priests or the scribes that work for priests, and it ends up being Ptah, which is really Peter, but Ptah is the creator of the universe, the deity that created the universe. And Ka is like the light of the soul, or the soul, or the immortality part of a man. And then Ra, as we all know, is the eye of God and the sun, but also specifically Ra is the creator of mankind, and Kat is the word for the shell or the vessel or the body. So it turns out that in this dream, my name is like a magical formula for the meeting of a soul and a body through 2 deities, one being Ptah, the deity that created the universe, and the other being Ra, the deity that created man. And Ptah gifted the Ka to Ra to put in the Kat, which is the body. And in the dream, I was very well aware of this little thing that Ptah gave the Ka to Ra to put in the Kat. And like, even though it sounds funny and like a little rhyme, I was wondering, from the dream and, well, the vision is in between dream. I was wondering how I was able to know these things. And then that's when I realized that, for all those people out there that wonder where or how that I have all of this knowledge, it's because of that echo from ancient times that has decided in this age to re-manifest the ancient knowledge and power of Mu or Atlantis, or whatever you want to call the worldwide society that existed previous to 12,500 or 13,000 years ago, before whatever great disaster befell mankind. And so I just wanted to say that it feels to me that in some way that there is an echo from the past that's re-manifesting in this time and space, and allowing certain people who have what you would have to say is the same code, genetic code sequences, or very similar genetic code sequences to the individuals that lived then. So what we've got is we've got so many thousand years of human interbreeding and rehashing genetic code until time as a set of codes has arrived that is similar to the living individuals of that time. And so because there's been a physical echo in the body structures and mind structures of individuals now living that are what would one have to say as a duplicate of those that were living previously, we've got the same sets of thought patterns manifesting in these individuals of modern times. And that's where, when I glean across things in different sets of esoteric works that I've read from ancient times, certain things resonate, like the Zin Uru, which happens to be, according to the teachings within the ancient Egyptian mystery religion known as the Kybalion, seems to be a genetic memory implanted in all of Enki or Thoth's followers, the teachings of what we'd call the Grand Masters of Consciousness. We have the Zin Uru, which is re-manifesting in humanity, and unfortunately that is being mislabeled as, in an undesirable way, the woke generation. But individuals who seek to change the way society is, who are not happy with the status quo, who have decided that they want to follow a more wholesome and holistic ancient code, kind of resonate with these teachings that have come from the ancient past, from Hermes Trismegistus and, Enki, and the holiest of the holies, Thoth. So they bring these words from ancient Mu or Atlantis forward as an echo through time to now, because it's appropriate in our time that these things would be remanifest and come to pass as part of the magnum opus, which is the great work of the Godhead. All right, so the word Zinuru is the word that resonates through time to me to pass on to you as the master of the machine, which was a plasma motor, was the memory to remember the truth of full awareness that you were born free and not a slave. And so this is the first video in a series of videos that I'm going to make regarding some of the things that I don't talk about in the movement, which are, in addition to the things that I do talk about, part of it nonetheless. And so now everybody's comfortable with the sons of Anu and the concept of the Birdman or Tangata Manu, which was the symbol for the ancient deities of many cultures around the world. I will be speaking of the ant friends or Anunnaki a little bit more often, and so I will after a while have a large compilation of videos that will fall in line with some of the people that you may have seen in different programs like Ancient Aliens even, or those kind of guys, because the truth is that when the example is the game of chess, okay? So like, it doesn't matter what country, in fact, you have decided to be taught chess in whatever language you speak. When two chess masters meet each other across the sides of the board and they look at each other, they realize ultimately in this game there are in fact 64 squares, 32 black, 32 white, 16 pieces that are black and 16 pieces that are white, and 8 pawns black and 8 pawns white, and 8 royals black and 8 royals white, and that there is in fact a set number of sequences that can arise from the moves that are possible with those pieces on the board at any one time. Now, it is a lot and a large number, but it is nonetheless finite, and after a while, when you become a master, after you've learned your 100,000 chess chunks, you will in fact be able to sit across the board with any other master, no matter where they are and no matter what language they speak, and you will be able to comfortably engage in a game of chess, hopefully with a favorable outcome, with that person with no problems whatsoever. And that's the thing, when we're doing the exploratory, which is, internal reflection and scanning down through our DNA for ancient memories of the past and trying to work out from those memories the correlations to our modern times and why we seem to be going down this road and following these patterns. There is a reason for it, and it is part of the ascension process. And I've predominantly remained quiet about the things that I know, that I have internally reflected within me from whoever I was once before in that time. And so, like, I'm going to try and talk about some of the weird consciousness experiences and knowledge that I've gained from those experiences to you in this series of, I guess you'd call them Peter's raves. And also, like a lot of the time, people don't really know about me and who I am and what I actually represent. And so they think all sorts of things, and the freedom movement and the cards and me speaking to people about the trust, and I'm going to speak extensively about the trust and about how to express that to other individuals so that they have a comprehensive ability to be able to discern what you're saying as being truth from the quagmire of fiction that exists out there from individuals who claim to be experts. And I will be talking about how we all inherit the Jesus Christ Trust, but in this video today, I am just going to be speaking about some of the things that I know from my own internal mental reflections, which many of you would call channeling, and I'm going to share those things with you, because generally what people think is that, I'm a legal guy, okay, and I'm not a legal guy, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not anything like that. But what I am is a echo of something that existed a long time ago in a golden age of mankind. So thank you very much if you've managed to make it to the end of this video. And to be honest, it does seem to me to be a little bit strange to be sitting here and talking to a little box on the other side of the room, with some fractalic pattern as a background, and the desire for me to explain my views about how the holographic universe recreates its patterns and what it means to us. So, hope you like listening to that little story, and I will be speaking a little bit more about these things. Thank you very much. It's Peter Martin, and I'd just like to say thank you all for listening.